Welcome everyone, my name is Worthy Pickle and this is your channel for all things gaming. The release of Oblivion Remastered has brought a lot of new players to the game who may not have played the original. Some of you may have played the original, but it's been so long that you don't remember most of the major mechanics or features of the game, so that's where this video is going to come in. I'll be breaking down all the major features, mechanics of the game so that you'll know before you get started how to navigate the game. If you're playing the game for the first time or just want a quick overview of mechanics like skills, combat, leveling, persuasion, exploration, inventory, crime, or factions, welcome and let's get started. First and foremost, let's talk about character creation when it comes to starting skills and birth signs. Right from the start, you'll be given quite a few options for creating your perfect character. The first option you get to choose is your race and origin. You have 10 options for race, each with 2 origin options. For the most part, there's kind of 2 ways to go about choosing your race and origin. Option 1 is to just choose whichever you think looks the best or maybe fits the vibe for what you're trying to get out of your character. I, for one, always seem to pick Nord. I'm not sure why. They have kind of the lamest look for a race, but it's what I've always done and what feels right to me. So that's what I always choose. Option 2, though, is to pick your race based on the starting boost that you get. It is important to keep in mind, though, while you get raise stats in certain areas from the start based on the race, you can always practice and raise your skill later on down the road. So, like if you want to be an archer, you don't have to pick a race that's going to boost that in order to get the archer build. It may just take you a few extra hours to level up your skill and get to that same level, but at the end of the day, just pick the race or origin that kind of fits the storyline or the role-playing aspect that fits you. Now we're going to be skipping the whole character designing phase of this and just move on to the birth signs. After fighting a few rats and making your way through the first few minutes of the game, you'll be asked by the Emperor what your birth sign is.
The skies are marked with numberless sparks, each a fire and every one a sign. I know these stars well, and I wonder, which sign marked your birth?
You're then given 13 different birth signs to choose from. Many give you bonuses without any downsides, but some do give you a benefit and a negative attribute. If this is your first time playing Oblivion, I do strongly recommend sticking with a birth sign that doesn't give you a negative effect. You'll be stuck with this, and you may not want to choose something that you'll regret later down the line. Like race and origins, though, you'll want to have a general idea of what type of character you want to build. If you want a brawly character, you may want to choose warrior. A mage, well, they have a birth sign for that. Do you like stealing everything you can find? Maybe just pick thief. There's plenty to choose from, so be sure to take your time, read through them, and pick the best fit for your build. I'll go ahead and show each of the birth signs here, so if you don't care to read through these on the screen, just go ahead and skip to the timestamp on the screen. When your character levels up, you'll see this symbol show up on the top right corner of your screen. If you played Skyrim, leveling in Oblivion is going to be a little bit different. You'll actually need to find a place to sleep in order to level up your character, and you can't just sleep in any bed you happen across in Oblivion. So you'll either need to randomly find a bed that isn't owned like I do in this video here, or you need to own your own bed in your own home. Once you sleep in a bed, you'll see this menu pop up, and you'll have a list of attributes you can choose to increase. You may just want to add ticks to every single attribute to make them even, but Oblivion doesn't exactly let you do that. Instead, every time you level up, you can choose 3 attributes to improve. If you're like me, you'll just slowly level each of them up to make them about even. But if you have a specific build in mind, you may want to be a little more strategic and increase ones that are more centered towards your build, but you'll have a lot of freedom to pick and choose what you want to do here. Alright, now let's talk about some combat. Now, combat has been revamped with Oblivion Remastered, but it's not going to be like most modern games. It's pretty simple and straightforward, but they added a couple things here and there. When it comes to combat, there's going to be 3 main groups. There's melee, ranged, and magic. First, let's talk about melee. So with melee combat, there's going to be 3 different groups of melee weapons, each have their own strengths. You have swords or blades. They're going to be much faster, more versatile, and then you have maces and warhammers. They're going to swing much slower, they're heavier, so they're going to weigh down your inventory more. But they do punch through armor better, so keep that in mind. Now axes are going to be that third group. Axes are going to be right in between maces, warhammers, and swords. So they'll swing a little bit quicker than warhammers. They'll pack a little bit more punch than swords. Then we have our fan favorite, which is ranged combat or archery. You will have to equip both a bow and arrows, so don't equip one without the other. Keep in mind, arrows are going to have a slight drop-off distance, so you're going to have to plan accordingly when you are in combat. I will also say early on, bows do feel a little bit weak, but if you level up the marksman skill, you'll unlock bonuses like zooming in while aiming and paralyzing, and that makes them significantly more powerful. They are also very satisfying to use, so be sure to use archery at least some point. Lastly, we have the magic combat system. Now, there's quite a few different spell groups. There's 6 schools in Oblivion: Destruction, Restoration, Alteration, Illusion, Conjuration, and Mysticism. Now, we could go into a whole other video going through each individual one, but the more you use each individual one, the more you can improve the skill for that. And that's going to be one thing we'll discuss a little bit later. To level up certain skills, you have to use that individual type of weapon or that type of magic. Now, we can't talk about combat without sneak and sneak attacks. Sneaking reduces the detection radius based on your sneak skill. So the more you increase that sneak skill, the closer you can get to people and the more noise you can make before you get noticed. Now, the cool thing with Oblivion is it does take your clothes into account. Darker clothes help you sneak, as well as low noise armor is going to help quite a bit. So light armor is going to be suggested. You do quite a bit of bonus damage when you are sneaking. It's actually 6 times with a dagger and 3 times with a bow. Lastly, you can also repair equipment mid-adventure. So when you're adventuring around, you'll come across repair hammers, and while they aren't the best, I would suggest keeping at least one on hand with you, and then once that repair hammer gets worn down, replacing it with another. But that's going to allow you to fix up the durability on your armor, so you want to make sure you have one on hand so you're not left somewhere without armor or a weapon. Now, for last couple tips on combat, I do suggest keybinding save somewhere on your keyboard or on your controller if you're on consoles. Keybind save, always save when you enter a dungeon, exit a dungeon, halfway through the dungeon. Pretty much anytime you think of it, just save just in case. I would also suggest always opening up with a sneak attack because you get that extra damage. And then early on in the game, try to block a lot. If you can hold a shield, block. Also, I suggest investing in restoration spells. It just makes healing quite a bit easier and less burdensome whenever you're between fights. But that's going to wrap up the combat section of this video. Now, we can't talk about an Elder Scrolls game without first talking about exploration. And I want to start by telling a quick story. So when I first played Skyrim as a kid, I actually had no idea you could fast travel. I probably had 400 or 500 hours in Skyrim before I even discovered fast travel. I literally ran everywhere. If I had a quest on the whole other side of the map, I ran all the way there, back and forth. I did get a horse, so I would take a horse back and forth for hundreds of hours. And then after the hundreds of hours, I discovered you could just fast travel between the major cities. And man, that changed my life. But I will say, I came across so many things because I had no idea you could fast travel. Because I ran everywhere, I came across a ton of cool stuff. And I feel like I discovered every inch of Skyrim because I didn't know you could fast travel. All that to say, in Obsidian, when you first start the game, as soon as you come out of the sewers, you can actually fast travel to a lot of places. Most of the major cities, you can just travel straight there. If you just go to your map, click on the city, yes, you can fast travel there. But I do want to say, especially at the beginning of the game, you should just walk and run everywhere. The map is huge and there's a lot to discover. There's a lot of hidden things, secret caves, abandoned forts, Daedric shrines, even weird little side quests. You'll only come across them if you're just running around in the forest. You'll also run into random events, so bandits can ambush you on the road. You may find a lone traveler who gives you a side quest. You may stumble into a ruined tower filled with loot and monsters. The world really does feel alive with Oblivion. But exploration also matters for loot. Some of the best armor, weapons, magical items, quest rewards, things like that, you'll come across randomly. You'll come across just out in the open. I mean, some of the best loot you can just find at the bottom of forgotten ruins. It's not even part of a side quest. All that to say, if you see a weird path leading off the main road, just follow it. A shrine tucked between the mountains? Yeah, climb up there. You never know what you're going to find there. So whatever you find, just let your ADHD distract you. Go check it out. And that's really where you're going to find the fun in this game. You can fast track the main quest in maybe 7 to 10 hours. But you could put hundreds of hours in this game if you just follow those tiny little side quests, the little things that distract you. Following an animal that's running away from you, that's where you'll find the most fun in this game. Now, moving on from exploration, let's talk about the crime system in Oblivion. Now, there's 5 main things that count as crime. There's theft, so taking items, assault, hitting a non-hostile NPC, murder, killing someone who wasn't attacking first, trespassing, pretty straightforward, and pickpocketing. Now, each of these crimes has their own consequences, like going to jail, paying a fee. You can also be attacked. But when it comes to going to jail, is it really worth it? You either have to pay a fee or go to jail. If you do go to jail, you do lose some skill progress. The game will randomly pick a skill or two to drop slightly. It's not a big deal, but if you keep going to jail, it is going to make you fall behind in the game. There are also a couple hidden mechanics that you should know. Guards will search you, so if you're carrying stolen goods and they catch you, they are going to be gone forever unless you stash them somewhere else first. Witnesses also matter, so if there's no witnesses, there's no bounty. If no one sees the crime, you're free. Now when it comes to resisting arrest once, that's fine. Twice, guards will start attacking you on sight in every city until you handle it. Killing a guard also jacks your bounty way up. It's almost never worth it unless you're playing as a villain. Just last couple tips before we move on from that. Save before you do anything sketchy. That's going to be a reoccurring theme with this video. Save, save, save. You can also use invisibility and chameleon spells to help you out, or you can join the Thieves Guild, which we'll talk about a little bit later as well. Now, the last major mechanic I want to talk about is guilds. In Oblivion, you have quite a few major guilds to choose from. The first is the Fighters Guild. This is essentially becoming a professional mercenary, so you'll have a lot of combat missions or brawls, monster hunting, things like that. And it starts pretty easy. You'll get some early gold and basic gear right from the start, and it's going to be really good for warrior or battle mage builds. Joining is pretty straightforward. You really just go to any Fighters Guild hall in the major cities, talk to the guild steward inside, and they'll sign you up. That's about it. Next, we have the Mages Guild. So this is going to be big for magic users. Some major perks with this is you're going to have access to arcane universities. So that's going to be like custom spells and enchanting. You'll get a ton of free spells and potions early on. Joining the Mages Guild is a little more work. First, visit any Mages Guild hall in the major cities, and then you'll need to get recommendations from all the local guilds first. So it's quite a bit of work, but it is worth it in the long run. Next, we have the Thieves Guild, which is one of my favorite because I love sneaking around everywhere I go. So a lot of this guild is going to revolve around stealing, sneaking, and fencing stolen goods. Some of the major perks with the Thieves Guild is being able to sell stolen items, and then you'll be able to clear your bounty through special contracts, which is fantastic. To join the Thieves Guild, you'll first have to get a bounty by committing petty crimes, theft works best, and then sleep anywhere after hearing the rumors about the Gray Fox. You'll get approached by a recruiter named Armand, and then you'll have to pass a quick trial and then you're set. Next, we have the Dark Brotherhood. This is the assassin for hire. Some awesome perks with this is unique stealth gear. I've always loved the Dark Brotherhood stealth gear, and you'll also get huge gold payouts for perfect contracts. You'll join the Dark Brotherhood by murdering someone innocent, sleep afterwards, and then you'll be visited in your sleep, and he'll offer you a chance to officially join the Dark Brotherhood by completing a test kill. Lastly, I'd also recommend visiting the arena. This one's going to be some brutal combat to get early game gold, and it's going to be the best way to test new builds and gears that you're trying to figure out as you play the game. Doing this is really straightforward. You just head to the arena district in the Imperial City, then talk to Owen in Bloodwork. He'll register you, no questions asked. And that's going to be a wrap of the major mechanics that you need to know in Oblivion before you get started. A couple rapid fire tips. Again, save often. I do also recommend using hotkeys for weapons, spells, and potions that you use frequently. Saves you a lot of time, just makes things a lot easier. You'll also want to use basic healing spells no matter what your build is. You don't have to level it up a lot, but just make sure you use it. Also, don't rush the main quest. I mentioned that earlier, but I can't stress it enough. Just go out, have fun, come across side quests, explore different things. That's where you're going to find the most fun in this game. And then again, remember, if no one sees you steal, it's like it never happened. So steal everything as long as there's no witnesses. But if you made it this far, thank you so much. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comments section what type of content you want to see in the future. And as always, stay worthy.